After, if you've ever felt something shift, but nobody actually said anything, this one's for you. Not a fight, not a blow up, just this quiet, creeping feeling that something's different. The tone changed, the energy changed, the way they respond to you is slightly off, but not enough to call out. So you start wondering, am I reading too much into this? Maybe, but probably not, because people don't pull away for no reason. And when it happens, it almost never comes all at once. It shows up in small things, easy to miss things, until one day you realize you've been noticing them for a while. Here are 5 signs someone is slowly removing you from their life without ever saying it directly. Sign 1, the replies change. Not once. Not because they had a busy week. Consistently. Messages that used to get fast responses now sit for hours, sometimes longer, and when they do reply, it's short. Just enough to technically keep the conversation going, but not enough to actually continue it. On the surface, it looks like bad timing, but underneath, it's usually about priority. People find time for things that feel important to them. When someone stops making that time, quietly, gradually, it usually means the emotional investment is shifting. Not always on purpose, not always out of malice, but it's shifting. Sign 2, and this one's sneaky, they stop pushing back. No more disagreements, no corrections. Nothing you say gets challenged anymore. And at first, that feels fine. Less friction, less tension, almost relaxing, honestly. But then something starts to feel off about it. Because real engagement includes some level of reaction. When someone's emotionally present, they respond, they debate, they participate. When that fades and everything just becomes, yeah, totally, that's not agreement. That's disengagement wearing a polite mask. They're not suddenly agreeing with everything. They've just stopped seeing the point. Sign 3 is about availability or the lack of it. They're technically still around, but try to actually reach them and it's like grabbing smoke. Plans are harder to lock in. Conversations feel rushed. There's always something they need to get back to, and nothing they say is wrong exactly. It just adds up to them being consistently, slightly out of reach. Here's the thing about this one. It's usually not accidental. Creating distance this way is psychologically easier than having a direct conversation. Instead of saying, I don't want this anymore, they just make it harder to maintain. Slowly reduce presence. Let it fade on its own terms. Sign 4, the emotional flatness. Their reactions go neutral. Things that used to land, a joke, something exciting you shared, a meaningful moment, now get a nice or haha and nothing else. They're not being rude. That's what makes it confusing. They're just not there emotionally anymore. And that distinction matters because emotional energy is literally what keeps a connection alive. Without it, every interaction starts to feel transactional, polite, predictable, like going through motions neither of you technically agreed to stop going through. And sign 5, this is the one people don't talk about enough, is what happens to you. You start adjusting. You think twice before sending a message. You reread what you wrote. You try to seem more casual, less intense, less like you noticed anything. You're not even sure why you're doing it. You just are. That's not paranoia. That's your instincts picking up on something real and trying to adapt to it. Pay attention to that. Seriously. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They assume this is about rejection, but it's usually not that clean. What's actually happening is avoidance, of discomfort, of confrontation, of having to explain something that feels messy or complicated to put into words. So instead of ending things clearly, they let it dissolve. Less energy here, less availability there, less engagement overall, until eventually the connection just fades out. No clear moment, no explanation, just gone. And being on the receiving end of that is genuinely disorienting because there's nothing concrete to hold on to, no moment you can point at, just this slow accumulating sense that something isn't the same and your mind spinning trying to figure out why. Most people start questioning themselves. Did I do something? Was I too much? Did I miss something? But most of the time, it wasn't one moment that caused it. It was a shift happening on their end, a change in how they were experiencing the connection. And that's the part no one talks about. Not every ending gets communicated. Some of them just happen through patterns instead of words. And once you start seeing those patterns for what they are, not isolated incidents, but signals, everything starts to look different. It was never just one delayed message, or one canceled plan, or one flat LOL. It was all of it together underneath. And once you see it, you don't really stop seeing it. If this put words to something you've been feeling but couldn't quite name, that's the point. Understanding these patterns isn't about fixing anything. It's about seeing clearly, and sometimes that's where everything starts.